6 groups. He's okay with that until the smirk. When she turns, you ever get that? The smirk. You know, okay, I know I screwed up, but you're going to have to deal with it. The surveyor, the professional observation person, says to her, I'll bet you're single and you're a pre-K art teacher. She said, that's amazing. You're exactly right. I am single and I am a pre-K art teacher. She says, were you able to determine that by looking at the items that I put on the conveyor belt? He said, no, you're fat, you're ugly, and you don't know how to count. I imagine you've probably examined some fat, ugly vessels where your survey didn't quite add up to what was being advertised on the sell sheet, and you had to go and have those arguments. Are we up by chance? Okay, so we'll have to skip some of the other stuff. It'd be nice if we could have it. Forget this after you hear it, I'll change it. It's a hashtag, capital C, Cobbler, C-O-B-B-L-E-R 344. That happens to be the name of the submarine that I served on for 4 years, an old World War II diesel submarine. Had a great time. And there we go. Can we launch the PowerPoint? Yeah. You're amazing.
I am.
Okay, great. Okay.
Right, hang on. Now we've got to just share it with the guys online.
Okay. Oh, come on.
I hate to say this is looking good.
May I continue? All right. Look, in 2009, I attended a law enforcement conference. I was there voluntarily. I was not under arrest. And it was Maryland police chiefs, which included every county, every municipality, every university, along with the Sheriff's Association, every sheriff from every town in Maryland, and some from Delaware. Okay. Now, why are these police chiefs there? Because they get together once in a while for poker. But the keynote speakers, the keynote speakers is the Assistant Senior Agent in charge of the Maryland Field Office for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and his counterpart at that newly developed bureaucracy known as Homeland Security, okay? Now, the police chiefs are there because, do you remember 2009? We got a little dip in the economy, and with the little dip in the economy, money's tight, and they're looking for federal dollars to supplement their budgets, especially in the training area. The question gets asked of the FBI ASAC, he's called. If we want to get money for training, where do we look? What are you guys spending your money on? And the Bureau guy says, we spend most of our dollars, our training dollars, for preparedness. What's going on in 2009? You remember, we got Afghanistan, you got every place. And he says, our #1 priority, pandemic flu. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm uninitiated at this point, and I'm thinking this is typical federal government. They're worried about runny noses and diarrhea, like there's going to be, hoarding of tissue and puffs. Why would they be worried about pandemic flu? A couple of people in here know. 1918, if we were to go back and look at the history of pandemic flu, over and above our normal mortality rate in this country, 2 million people died as a result of the flu, okay? Today, now they've got a new virus coming out of China. I have to tell you, I thought they were messing with my beer, That's because they called it a coronavirus. But the projections are worldwide, the next pandemic flu, whenever it happens, we're looking at losing anywhere from 175 to 180 million people. 10 million people here in the United States, anywhere from 6 to 10 million people dying as a result of pandemic flu, and it's spread. And when you think about how we operate as a nation, the travel, how much easier it is to get around, you can understand why all of a sudden they're going to be worried, well, not all of a sudden, why they're training for this, because it's not a respecter of position. Who do you think the first group is that gets the vaccine? Anybody want to take a guess? Law, who said that? That is exactly right. Why? Because it's going to be mass chaos. It's going to be anarchy. Second, healthcare workers. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that marketing people are pretty far down on the list. Okay, I don't know where boat brokers are going to be, and I probably below that, and lawyers at the very bottom, surveyors, people that inspect for this stuff. You're probably going to get your vaccine before I will. Now, having said, let's see, how do we move forward?
Downward arrow will take your slides forward.
Okay, I'm going to take your word for it. There we go. Okay. This law enforcement conference got me thinking about things, and I went back. I don't know if you can see this. This says Director of National Intelligence. I looked at the report from 2009 and compared it to 2019, a decade later. And both of them, both reports, different people, both now gone from the federal government, but both of them mention the fact that climate change has an impact, will have an impact on our global health. The interesting thing was that in 2009, it was almost an afterthought at the very end of the report. In the 2019, it was in the middle of the report. Although they said, don't pay attention to how we've ordered this stuff. I am the conspiracy theorist. If the government says, don't look over here, I believe they're hiding something. I believe that's where you want to look. And when you go into these reports, you're going to maybe get a little bit of hair on the back of your neck if you're even a little bit concerned about it, of what's happening because of the viruses. Let's see it. Yeah. World Health Organization, the CDC, NIH, and all of their affiliates, they all agree that the next pandemic flu, it's not a question of if it's going to happen, it's a question of when it's going to happen, okay? Bacteria, fungal mutations resistant to specific cures, specific treatments. Well, we're here to talk about mold. But a lot of the treatments, a lot of the things that you'll do to mitigate mold are very effective on viruses, bacteria. So you want to pay attention to that, because even though you may decide that you want to be testing for mold, those treatments that will come in and take care of that issue are also going to sanitize the boat on some of these other issues. When you get the slide, and I don't want to spend time going through this because I'm not going to regurgitate stuff that you can read. When you go look at these, you'll understand what they're talking about. And if you're a little bit skeptical that this is a serious problem, look at the people who work in laboratories and handle this stuff on a day-to-day basis. They don't go in there in shorts and a polo shirt. Bill talked about some of the protective gear that he suggests you wear. We're going to parrot that. We're not going to go into it as deeply. But this stuff is dangerous, and it's dangerous to everybody at some level, because you don't know who's been on that boat before you. And one of the things you'll hear from my associate, my friend Jim Sweeney later, is how long viruses, germ, how long it can exist in the vessel, even after the person that brought it there, even after they left. Okay, causes for increase in the frequency and severity across the board. Everybody believes global warming, our climate, our water's getting a little warmer. Well, doesn't that make sense? I mean, the incubation, what does it take? Moisture and warmth. You know, although I believe you mentioned, Michael mentioned, some do grow at under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But if it warms up a little bit, that's going to obviously increase. How many of you, if you can remember back 20 years, how many of you heard about flesh-eating bacteria? You probably did. We seem to be getting a case a week. As a matter of fact, if you go to CDC, you can find out what the uptick has been. And again, global warming is one of the culprits. There are other sinister powers at work. I don't want to blame them. I'm just saying some people have suggested that this might be another cause for some of this. Mutations, but the mutations I'm finding are causing some real serious problems, okay? Oh, good. Okay, good. Okay, now, okay, hang on. I don't want to tell you that I'm biased, okay? It goes across, okay, that's enough of the foolishness. Bill talked about protecting yourself. And your first priority, you don't do anybody any good if you're sick. Anybody here know an associate or someone that's contracted MRSA as a result of just show of hands. Got a couple people? You know anybody that's had a lung infection? I got to tell you, okay? You got to protect, your first responsibility is to yourself and your families. Your second responsibility is obviously to your client. But if you'll, again, you go to OSHA, you go to that website, in addition to what you learned yesterday, if you don't study that stuff, you can spin the roulette wheel right now and your number might not come up. But when you look at how these things are mutating, you better understand you're at risk, okay? And that's, we covered enough of it, but please visit the OSHA site and learn about some of these protective gear and measures that you need to take. What I want to do for the next portion of our time, we have developed, in conjunction with Mr. Pinto, we've developed a mold testing kit for you. Now, when I first decided to get into this business of mold remediation, it was mainly because I wanted to be around boats. And this was an area, you see a lot of mold remediation companies are going into buildings, whether it's ServPro or some specialty organizations. But I like being in the boating. You know, I guess you spend 4 years in a submarine, you're out in the ocean all the time. It just gets in your blood. I got out of the service, I moved down to Destin, Florida area. I worked on a boat as a first mate, baiting hooks for giggly little college girls. It was a fun job, but I like the salt water, okay? So when I developed this process, this program, had the opportunity to meet with Michael, and we have developed this customized kit for you. Now you have in your possession, and I'm going to try and find it. I may require your assistance. I have these sheets that you're going to look at on a thumb drive. How do we get out of here? Yes, they are. There we go. Need to put the glasses back on. Need to find the glasses. Anybody seen them? No, they're in my pocket. I have them. You ever do that? Do you have to find wear glasses to find your glasses?
I've got 25.
Okay, that's good. I think I can find it from there.
Do you want me to open one up?
Well, just move down all the way down. It's got numbers.
Okay.
Keep going.
Go on.
No, let's go back up. It should be December or January 20th, 23rd. There you go. There we go. I think if we click on one of those, we can look at the other ones. Okay. You can stay right there.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
Oh, you're not sharing that.
Here, so
Okay. So if you look at that packet, first there's an introductory on what this kit is all about. And I am going to try, yes. There we go. This is just instruction for how to use this kit. Read it at your leisure. What we want to look at, that's the directions. Michael touched on it yesterday. This is how you use, I guess you'd like to know what this looks like. You can pass that around. It's a little, very easy to use. Each kit comes with 3 sample sticks or test strips, and you'll want to decide where you're going to take those samples from. Where do you think you're going to find mold?
someplace there.
Well, okay. Oh, in a head, absolutely. Let's go back to our, do we have more arrows?
No, I think at the end of the.
Okay.
One, yeah.
Okay.
Can we put a lock on it?
No, because I want to make sure I put this in here. Yeah. So you have, in your packet, you have this sheet. This was customized. Now you'll notice up top it says RGS distributors, marine surveyors, and consultants. I'm not a marine surveyor. What I wanted you to recognize is that when we create these for you, if you decide to participate, we create these for you. We make these sheets up for you. As a matter of fact, if the data that is on here is not what you want, if you want something different, we will create them for you and customize it. So when you fill this out, it comes in with your name on it. The next sheet you should look at in that packet is the log. So just like in a court of law, you have to have continuity of evidence. You need to make sure that you are documenting where you're taking the samples. That would be ending a sentence in a preposition, and I know you don't do that over there. So from where you're taking the sample, okay? Document it, make sure you keep a copy of this, but you will also send it to, if you're using Wonder Maker's laboratory, you're going to send it up there, and they maintain a copy of it as well. Because if it ever gets back, if it ever comes back on you, that, oh, you didn't tell us about it, you want to make sure that you, how many do you keep your surveyor reports now? And how long do you keep them for? Okay, not a bad idea. I don't know what the statute of limitations are, but it's not so much whether or not you're going to be found guilty. The issue is, are you going to have to defend? And that's what costs money, the fact that you have to defend it. So if you participate, you want to make sure that you fill out the documents correctly, keep a copy, ship it out, and then what you get in this was one that was done. Did you pick? I have one of those, please. Thanks. It shouldn't be. What? Did I? Well, did I not give that to you? Yeah. There you go. Make sure you have something that says a summary. Now this particular vessel and the vessel identification on this front page, you give us as much information as you can. This is going to come back and it's going to identify all of the information that you provided for us. just to make sure we have cross-reference. You go to the second page. And starting on the first page, you'll see something called Category 1. It goes all the way down to Category 5. This is where the bad juju stuff is, okay? It identifies everything for you. This is a customized report. This is what we've developed to this date. If there is some other information that you feel is important, is critical for you to be able to communicate to your customer, here's what you need to be concerned about. You just got to let us know. Now, I'm going to tell you that these kits cost you $180. Okay? That sound high? Hey, it's not $70,000. Come on. Everything's got a relative price. Okay? I close. Close, yes. Is that mic not working? $180. I will tell you that the surveyors that are using this now are earning an extra, well, let me defer that for just a second. It's a way to increase your profitability. Go to the next page on this report. Oh, well, first, look where we found, look where mold was found on this page. You might expect it in the master stateroom, under the berthing areas, or in the storage cabinets. You certainly wouldn't expect it on the aft deck. But that's where most of the mold was found. Now, the fact that we didn't find a lot of it in the berthing area or in the galley doesn't mean that it doesn't exist there. Doesn't mean that they can just go treat that aft deck and say, oh, we're done. We have it mitigated. Doesn't. Mold's on the boat, and you got to have the entire thing. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, you give it to them. Absolutely not. Now, the reason we don't is this. We've made the decision that we will not sell to the retail customer. We will only work with dealers, whether they're a boat dealer or a marina or an independent contractor, because we offer a 12-month guarantee that if you use our methodology, it's not coming back. We have examples where it's lasted longer than that. A lot has to do with how much mechanical weathering is going on, how many rubs the fabric, or whatever. So I got to ask you, what does your, are we having an ethics discussion? Later. Okay, so the question is, what are you allowed in good conscience and good faith to tell your customer? Because on our website, we will have a list. We will have a list of all authorized inspectors. That's you guys, if you're participating. And we're going to have a list of all of the authorized remediators. And there's a network of them. They don't work for me, my company exclusively. Some of them do hospitals as well as other buildings, but they're qualified to do it. Many of them are certified mold remediation experts, okay? And if they're certified, that's a pretty good knowledge. You can direct them to our website. You can tell them, look, there are mold remediation people out there. We are strictly focused in the maritime marine industry. So I think we have a little, I just think we have a, yes, sir. Please.
Basically, what you have is support that you're giving back to your client. And our survey report is it's a tool in which your client goes back to the seller and says, we got a problem. Let's renegotiate this problem. So if something else is an example or
It's a bargaining chip.
a statement that says we have a problem. We want to sell the boat on a line, but I need to get rid of it before I take ownership. And the seller is now educated. The seller is knowledgeable that he's got a problem on boat. And he has to know that information to be able to respect his client. So that's what this proposal is.
Randy.
This is what we didn't do 20 years ago with oil sands. I'm going to wager most surveyors from U.S. offer oil sands. And we didn't do that 20 years ago. So we hand the client an oil sand report that says you got tissue water on 480. What do? I'll have it. We don't do that. That's another tool. Now you got yet another thing to inform just in the same way.
If we can go back to the PowerPoint. Somebody. I believe that you, sir, brought up the issue of yesterday screwing up the deal. I mean, I know you have such a close relationship with boat brokers, and they just love you when you find stuff. Now, here's a reality. Okay, I'm sorry that we found something that has potentially hazardous to your client. But you know, not only is there, as Michael pointed out, a legal responsibility that you have, I think there's a moral responsibility as well. I don't think you want to think about some kid going on that boat that's got asthma, and the mold was there, and nothing happened to it because somebody didn't say something. And I think that's one of the issues that you have to wrestle with. But if you're going to do it, all we're trying to do is make it easier for you to provide a service to your client, and you can make money at it, okay? Now, how many people here know the name Herschel Bernardi? Wow. Nobody? Herschel Bernardi was a stage actor, screen actor. You may remember him from the movie, stage play, Fiddler on the Roof. Does that ring a bell with anybody? Come on. You know, If I Were a Rich Man, yada, 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 okay? Herschel Bernardi was he was well known, he was famous, he did very well. I think he was nominated for an Oscar. And he got paid for what he did. But Herschel Bernardi made millions of dollars saying 5 words. I'm going to give you 2 of them. Sorry, Charlie. Herschel Bernardi was the voice of the guy that told Charlie the tuna, sorry, Charlie. I think it was Star-Kissed. Okay. And every time they played that commercial, cha-ching, his cash register rang. Think about how many times you saw that commercial. Millions of dollars. The other 3 words he said, ho, ho, ho. And he wasn't on 14th and K in DC. He was the voice of the Jolly Green Giant. And every time they played that commercial, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you 5 words that I want you to add. When your phone rings and someone says, do you do boat surveys, and you go through your repertoire, here's what we can do, we'll do this. If you'll add these 5 words, anybody in here would like to have a $10,000 to $15,000 increase in pay without surveying any more boats? Is there anybody that would like that? I want to make sure we're not totally. Add these 5 words. Are we testing for mold? Now, what do you think that's going to do? When you say that to your customer, what's the next thing out of their mouth? I think typically it's the how much, okay? These kits cost you $180. It's your time, it's expertise, the market's going to be somewhere in the $280 to $350 range for 3 samples that you're going to take. And you're going to get back a report that has your name on it, it's customized, and you're going to be providing a valuable service to your customer because you're alerting them to the problem, you're giving them a negotiation point, and you're going to make money. So, questions? Michael?
One other thing is the assumption here is that a lot of people, I think, well, every time you take a sample, then it's going to cost. And the answer is that quite a few times what we're doing is you're proving negative in some respects. You're looking at the areas. You saw some pictures yesterday that I put up there. Is that just dirt deposit because the boat's been sitting out for a long time, or is there actually gold growing in there? Those are the sorts of questions that you won't know just by looking at it. And no,
Do I have time to show that video? It's on the PowerPoint. How long? About 2 minutes.
So, yes, it's going to be kind of the samples depending on that cost. I'm sure that you mentioned with your buyer and or whoever's doing the survey, there's going to be times where it's going to come back negative and you're able to say, hey, that's great.
Okay.
So we looked at this, we thought that it could be, it's negative. That gives you some assurance that we can move forward here. We just need some regular cleaning or whatever. So believe me, they go both ways all the time.
Yes, sir. My service is his service. He's my partner. Okay, it's loose partnership, but it's a partnership. I engaged Michael to provide this for us, and as he mentioned yesterday, if you need it tomorrow, overnight the thing. You'll have the results tomorrow. Yes, sir. Cost on.
Which is understandable. And even with oil samples, we get them in 2 or 3 days.
Sure.
And you have to have that reported.
And I think, as Michael mentioned yesterday, you can, in your report, say, we have tested for mold. At this juncture, there appears there may be an issue. We're going to get certification. Look, if I can modify my IRS return a year later, I'm sure it's okay that as long as you've made your client aware of it. Now it's their decision. You're willing to wait 24 hours or 48 hours to get the report? You're going to advise them to wait.
Yeah, I understand that. But if it was, 3 or 4 days longer than that, that's.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Michael, but if we needed a 24-hour turnaround, is it an extra $20? Is it an extra $70,000? What? That's a good number. I like that number. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We have a schedule, and I can get it out to you, get everybody here. It's all just a matter of how fast you want it. There's 48 hour, 24 hour, and same day turnaround. There's prices for that, and it's it's like double.
Okay. And again, if the deal is that critical, the client's going to pay for it. And somebody that's buying $1 million boat or $500,000 boat, if they want it, they're going to pay for it. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Comment.
My practice is if there's ever a third-party analysis or inspection being done, be it engine inspection, air conditioning guy, machinery guy, I make mention that has been done and refer to that section. I would say, old sample's been taken, it's been sent off, refer to that report. So you get your report off in a timely manner and it's done. And then when the mold report comes in, You push it off, and my granny said, well, what do I do now? Call the mold remediation guy.
So I usually leave the mark that close that and send it to the lab for analysis, so it's nothing to see.
Exactly.
Okay.
You came out, and then the customer can decide, do I want to go ahead and close on this deal, or
Yeah.
do I want to sit and wait another 2 or 3 days?
It's not.
Most of the time, they'll sit and wait 2 or 3 days.
Do they ever ask you what they should do? And if they do ask you, well then, and then you have, you know, you decide ethically. Yeah.
I'm going to be very careful about what I'm going to buy, and I'm going to be burdened to without knowing what I'm getting.
Right.
So it's a good idea to probably wait.
There you go. And as long as ethically you can say, look, this is my best advice. This is the best advice. Okay, I'm gonna show you a brief video. Jim Sweeney's going to talk more about it, but there some of the mitigating techniques. And this is not to sell you on this. This is just to let you know there are something other than. I'll find my box in a minute. How many of you use bleach wipes? Yeah. Does it do a good job in sanitizing? You think so? It smells like it. I'll find my bottle. I brought a bottle. Read the label. That surface, if we wipe it down, and I do this in my kitchen. I do most of the cooking. My wife and I have 8 children, soon to be 20 grandchildren. I do most of the cooking. She got tired of it. Okay. Obviously, I didn't get tired of eating. I wipe up in the kitchen. I'm thinking I'm doing a great job. You read on the back of that label. That surface has to stay wet for 10 minutes in order to have cleaned and sanitized that surface. I'm not waiting for 10 minutes between carrots and fish, okay? It's, there, exactly, okay? But there are products out there that have a longer efficacy utilization. I'm gonna show you a brief video on one. Again, Jim's going to talk more about it. I'm going to show you and pass this around. This is a custom-made filter that it's neat. I'm going to let Jim talk about it. Nothing gets through here. Submicron filter. Rubber around the edges so air can't get around. Okay? Take a look at this, and if you'd kindly launch that. Do we have sound? How about sound? I mean, this is nice to look at, but
I can hum up you, Bart.
no, we don't have sound. We don't have sound. Jim, will you be able to show the same video and explain it a little bit? Wonderful. The other product I'm going to demonstrate, if you will look in this little paper bag of yours, you're going to find something called Fortify. The 2 types of products both form covalent bonds. That particular product and the one that says Fortify, I want you to get your cell phone and I want you to just give it a little tiny spritz, just a light spray with the Fortify on your cell phone. Use your finger and rub it in a little bit, let it dry, and then buff it just a little bit. Don't saturate it. Let it dry. Blow on it if you want to, but let me step over here. I know some of you went drinking last night, and I don't want to pass out. But take that buffing cloth that's in there and buff it. Feel the difference. What happens is glass, even glass, every surface is porous. These use nanotechnology, little tiny particles. Who was was it your gentleman that was talking about nano versus? If we had nanoparticles, take about 1.5 million of them piled on top of each other to get this high from the floor. Little tiny particles fill those cracks and fissures and make things smooth so stuff can't stick to it. Dirt, grime, that's what it does. The other bottle is something called Nano Lube, as it says on the label. If it rides, glides, slides, rolls, or pivots, this is a great non-petroleum lubricant. Works great on fishing gear, and it works great on guns. The Marine Weapons Battalion down at Quantico has used it, keeps their guns clean, and keeps them from that pitting that goes on. So, oh, there you are. Okay, thank you. If you're interested in participating as an authorized surveyor, shoot me an email. Those of you that are online, if you didn't get a copy or you're interested in participating, my email is on our website. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. Yeah. You can take that.
Fantastic.